That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Man, it's interesting because you were right. Like what they do with, creating just soundscapes.
hmm
Really, like that. That's it's so
I
interesting.
know. And the reason why I really, really love this song is because of what they do with heaviness. Like,
Yeah.
just the idea of having a heavy metal sound, there's just this immediate connotation to just like aggression, but I love it when bands use heaviness for atmosphere and wideness like this does. And Deftones have been using it for years, but this is the first time they've ever used like, and I'm serious, 9 string guitars. And I just love that low, low, chuggy sound in the chorus. Like, I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I've been getting super into that really just like sludgy down tempo type of metal recently.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is like straight up my alley for what I've been listening to a lot.
hmm
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to I think Ohms because that was like the title
Yeah.
track was the first single,
hmm
I believe.
That's right.
So I listened to that, but I don't think that I ever ended up actually catching the full album.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard Ohms when it came out too, and I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. And I just sort of didn't think much of it. But then I listened to the full album, and that song carries so much more weight, like within the context of the whole album.
Oh yeah.
And then they release like Genesis as a second single, and that one's just as good. And that one's like really cinematic. And it actually feels really good when you're listening to it when you're driving, especially at
Oh yeah.
night. Yeah.
Oh sure. That's always an interesting vibe, but I actually really enjoy driving at night, like listening to really good
Oh,
music.
I
So
know.
that's interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah. And another thing I like about this one is that lyrically it's a love song. It's like a very sensual love song, and Deftones have a lot of these. And I think it's really brave for them to be such a hard band and write these really abstract, positive love songs. I don't know a lot of other, especially new metal bands that do that. But
Yeah.
Deftones'
I
lyrics
suppose
are,
you got to have your thing.
oh, definitely. And Deftones' lyrics are always really, really interesting because they're always so abstract and metaphorical.
Mhm.
Yeah, and same thing here. But yeah, this sort of feels like maybe a darker side of like maybe I don't know sex tape from Diamond Eyes. That song, yeah,
Mhm.
it kind of reminds me of that to a degree.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the Deftones catalog like as a whole.
Yeah.
So, but I'll take your word for that and probably check it out here in a little
Oh,
bit.
I definitely would. They definitely have
See
a
what you mean by that. But
yeah.
yeah.
They definitely have a wide discography worth getting into. Like every album just has something to offer.
Yeah, I mean, how long have they been releasing music? 1995.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. I'm glad that we were able to have you on to talk about your favorite song of the year.
Yeah, me
Do
too.
you have anything real quick that you want to shout out? Anything that you've been working on? Anything like that?
Well, actually, yeah, I just so I've been working at the Playhouse at White Lake, uh, little historical community theater in Whitehall, Michigan, and we just did a production of It's a Wonderful Life, and it's presented in radio theater format. So if anyone would care to listen to some Christmas themed theater, you're welcome to go to the Playhouse at White Lake, and it will be one of the top posts, and you can buy tickets there. It's streaming through Broadway on demand, and it is and you can buy a ticket and stream it for one night, and it should be a good time. I did the sound editing, I did the recording, I did the design, and everyone involved is really proud with it. So yeah, shout out to the White
All
Lake Youth
right.
Theater and the Playhouse at White Lake.
Awesome. Thanks for being on. Thanks for giving a shout out to the White Lake Theater, the Playhouse at White Lake. And it's been good having you on.
Thanks, man. It's been great to be on.
Our next guest is Mr. Noah Shoemaker. How are you doing, man?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. So, you've never been on the show before. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? What do you feel like the audience should know about you going into this little segment?
All right. Sure. That sounds good. So my name is Noah. I used to do audio stuff like Ryan does, but not so much anymore. I study a lot of noise and vibration here in the mechanical engineering department. Yeah, me and Ryan used to be in the same department in the VPA here at Tech. I guess that's pretty much what I do. I mean, I play guitar, stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, what was your favorite song of the year?
Mine was Dearest Alfred by Crumbin.
Okay.
So Crumbin's a three-piece band, guitar, bass, and drums. I don't really know much about them, but I like the album, and the songs are pretty sweet. So kind of like a little bit of like a story for behind the scenes of it. I guess when the band was
sure.
writing this song, they stumbled upon some like old letters from their dad or their granddad, like writing letters to his family or whatever. And they decided to use some of those letters as the lyrics. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but cool. I
It's
mean,
kind
that's
of neat, though.
right. That's
I
like
like that.
That's like a different way to get words for a song.
Yeah. Any way that you can synthesize creativity.
Exactly. And and speaking to that, I mean, one of the things that I think is really interesting about this group is even though it's just the three of them, they're able to really fill the space, with what they have. They use a lot of reverb and delays, but it's used to a good effect.
All right. Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Sweet.